welcome to part 2. Let me see if I can tag a few of you guys. Oh, and the light just went out. Hey, Jackie. Yay! Take 2. Stephanie, hello. Sorry about that, guys. I'm glad you're finding me again. I'm not sure what happened. We had like a little power surge kind of situation. Gabriella! It was too much art energy. We blew a fuse. Better, yay! Sorry about that. Sorry. Technology is so wonderful and also so difficult sometimes. Yay! I'm happy you found me again. I'm still here. Aww, thank you, Jackie. Take a little tea break. Let everybody find this again. I wonder what kind of tea this is. It's good. I think this must be like a slippery elm or something. It's got like a throat soothing stuff. My throat's been so scratchy. I've been drinking so much tea lately. It's so good. I see Vicky. She's found us again. Yay! And Lala and Jeff. Yay! Good to see you guys. Sorry about our little technical snafu earlier. I think we blew a fuse. I'm not sure. The lights went out too, so we just were building up too much energy. Too much art goodness. You know what? I'm gonna light some things on fire real quick because that is always one of my favorite go-tos when there's like gremlins in the system. So I'll take just a moment here and let everyone find us again. And I've got a little bundle of white sage. Hi, Vicky. Hi, Tasha. Aw, thank you for the love. I'll light a little sage to do a little virtual smudge. Invite you back in. Come into present time with me. Do a little smudge over here too. Just move the energy a little bit. Yeah, very good. Sweet, I see Kelly. A new tea, oh my God. I am kind of a tea fan. I have so many teas. I will think about my favorites, okay? And I'll let you guys know. I'll think about it because I have a lot. I mean, if I had to just pick one general favorite tea, it'd probably be chaga, which just is like a very living tea. It has such a gorgeous like grandfather energy to it. But I have a lot of other little favorites I'd be happy to share with you. I'll dig through my pantry and let you guys know. That's a great question though. I love sharing stuff like that. Ah, Gabriella, yay! Thank you for the love. All right, so let's see if that's gonna go out or not. My this particular bundle is a little bit drier and has been quite naughty, so we'll see. I'm gonna light a little Palo Santo also because when you clear energy, it's also good to like bring in the energy you want afterwards. It's just good protocol. Ah, Heather, yay! Sorry about that, Heather. We had a little glitch. Doing a little smudge here, moving some energy. It happens. Oh, it's a great excuse to light some Palo Santo. Palo Santo is a holy wood and probably the most amazing smelling, burning thing that I can imagine. It brings good energy, it lifts the spirit. It has to dry on the forest floor for 7 years before it's ethically harvested, if hopefully it is. All my Palo Santo is ethically harvested, the stuff I sell in my shop, so It's good to know where your Apollo comes from. It's not right to cut down living trees. Yay, no worries. Yay, okay, awesome. Oh, Nathan's back, yay. You got it working. I was worried I was freezing some weird face, Nathan. You said your phone was freezing. Like, I love it when when they do like the little thumbnails of the lives and you're like making some fun face. Susan, I see you. Hello. Well, I think when it cut off, I was sharing some different art journal ideas. My goal here is to overwhelm you with ideas on what kind of journal you might want to bring to the party next Friday. I have a couple more ideas for you, a couple more things I want to share. Let's do this one next. This is an old book. Like a straight up old book. You can find an old book maybe laying around that you know, either has a cool cover or you don't like so much anymore. And they make awesome art journals. This one was kind of fun. I actually used an X-Acto knife and I cut through the cover here. You can see, and I put a picture behind it, so I made like a little window. Doesn't even have a spine anymore. Kind of fell off, but still is a really cool book, and I didn't want it to go to waste, so it just has regular pages in it. These are pretty thin, so these will require like a little bit of extra love if you're going to be doing a lot of paint, just a little bit of priming work. Oh yeah, my collaboration with Seth. Oh, that was, yeah. So, you know, we were doing a nature journal that we were passing back and forth, and I just wanted to like throw that out there as an idea for you guys to maybe think about something like that. If you have other artsy friends, you know, it's a beautiful time of connecting with people in that way, and you know, sending journals back and forth is such a fun thing to do. So I just wanted to share that idea with you. What was I saying? So this is just a regular book, and I even put little matchbox, little matchbox, it's upside down. My kiddo plays with my books, but a little matchbox drawers in here. It was actually pretty simple to do. It seems difficult, but what I did was I glued the back part of all these pages together. So it takes some time, and then you just cut out like a little square here, and you glue the matchbox in, and then you glue another page on top of it so it covers it up. And then it makes like a little secret, you know, little drawer in the back of your book. That's kind of a fun little extra thing. And there's lots of cool little ideas and things you can do with just a regular book. This is just a weaving. Let's see if I can get it to pick up the light. There, just a weaving of different papers. This is kind of a funny little funny art journal page. So, you know, old books could make really cool journals. In general, the easiest way to journal with these guys is just glue a couple pages together. So I would just, you know, take a glue stick or something and just glue 2 or 3 pages together to make a thicker page. Like this guy is probably like 3 pages glued together. And they're really fun, they're really beautiful. It's a great way to recycle books that perhaps aren't that great, or you're, you know, this one, the spine fell off, and this one has photos in it too. So I know there's a few places where I just took the photo that was already there, and like this guy, I just painted him. Kind of a fun, easy art page. Just took the black and white photo that was already in the book and I painted him. This looks, oh, you know what I did here? I actually taped 2 pages together here. You can see where I have, see? I just put a piece of masking tape there. So just quickly put it on the corner there, tape 2 pages together so that they were a little thicker and a little easier for art journaling. So even quicker and easier than gluing, you can just tape some pages together to make thicker pages. It looks like I did all of these here. These all have tape and they're 2 pages thick, so they're a little bit nicer if you're going to use water on them like this guy was painted. It just helps absorb a little bit better without it all going crazy. But even if it goes crazy, I can help you guys fix it. I have all kinds of tips and tricks. And what's fun about these old books too is sometimes they'll have cool words that stand out. Like, I don't know if you can see this. So I just painted a layer of gesso or white paint. Gesso is a type of white paint primer on top of here, and I picked out some of the words that I liked to kind of stand out a little bit. Really simple, easy to do. If you don't have gesso, no worries. You can even use like house paint primer if you have some. If you don't have paints, you can use paint samples or wall paints and all different things. So, but I'll be talking just a little bit more about gesso as we go forward. So everybody loves gesso. It's a fun thing to play with. This one actually Jared made. Hopefully he doesn't mind me sharing it. But it was an old book that my husband Jared made into like a little, like it was a gift to me. He was doing some art journaling for me, and so there was like a little postcard of a place that we went and some rose petals, and he actually did this really cool thing where he cut part of the book, and there's like a little I don't know if you can see that. There's a little, like a treasure box in here where he's actually burned a little bit of it and put a rose in it. And so it holds like one of these special roses. And I think this was like a rose that he gave me on a date or something like that. It was like a really special little thing. And so he decided to put it into a journal, and he was working on it still. So it turned into like this really interesting art journal. And so old books can be really fun. They're really nice to cut into too because they're so thick, you know, like you like the match boxes and like the cool things, you know. I'm sure you guys have seen people who cut like a majority of the book out and make like little hidden treasure boxes and stuff too. That's really fun, and you can absolutely do that. So old books are a really great idea for journaling, and they can be really, really fun. Let's see. So this is sort of a little bit of a take on the old book, because I actually used old book covers to make this guy. These are 2 book covers and watercolor paper. Let's see, I'll take the ties off here. Aw, you were around when he proposed. Wasn't that sweet? Aw. God, you guys have been with me a long time. We've been traveling together for a while, haven't we? I love that. Aw. So this is a cool old book. It looks like it cut the cover in half, because there's one half of it and there's the other half of it. So the inside was really pretty, and I definitely kept that because I liked it. So this is just an old book cover I cut in half with an X-Acto knife, and then I painted on it so it has nice hard covers. And this is just watercolor paper that I have torn. This is they're Bristol or Arches. It feels like Bristol or Hot Arches if you guys are artistically inclined. But so this is just a watercolor paper. I left a few little extra long, so they have some flaps and stuff like that. I did more of like a traditional weird stitching on this. I honestly, I don't, like I said, I don't really like following the rules. I never really have. It's never really suited me. So I would even make up a lot of my own journal binding stitches. But if you are not comfortable with that, you can always go online and look up like Coptic stitch, COPTIC, Coptic stitch, which is a really common like beginner stitch for sewing in like watercolor pages into a book like this. Or you can just make it up, you know, as long as they're all together. It doesn't, you know, it's your journal. You can make it how you want. And that being said, if you want it to be all perfect, it's your journal too. You can absolutely do that too. Just because I'm all like haphazard, you don't have to do that. So this was just using old book covers. And so speaking of like fancy watercolor paper, this book was done with just thick watercolor paper. I believe this was probably one large sheet of Bristol when I started it. Again, it's got that like super simple one stitch kind of situation. Oh no, it's two. This is actually 2 stitches. So it's got 3 holes, one here, and one in the center. And I looks like I was just fancy, and I decided I would pull it up twice. But really easy little piece of wax thread that I probably just took some embroidery floss and ran it over a candle just to make it a little stronger, a little waxed. And then this is just pieces of Bristol paper. And this is more of a collage journal. I did a lot of collaging in here. I'll share some of this with you guys because I think this is kind of a fun one. I have some duct tape down here. Love tape. Some interesting, crazy collage stuff. This was one I used to take on airplanes with me because it was kind of compact and easy to travel with. And I just mostly did a lot of gluing. I think I prepped the pages before I went on vacation. Art journaling on airplanes is one of my very favorite things to do. I love this. First pull up, then pull down. I still remember the day I got this paper. This was, do you guys recognize? These are from the seat sanitizer boxes in the bathroom. I came out of the bathroom so triumphant, and Jared was standing there and he was like, "What?" And I was like, "I found cool ephemera in the bathroom." And he was like, "You are a crazy lady." So I was really excited about that, and of course it went right in my art journal. This is some funny stuff. So, you know, I find ephemera everywhere. I really do. You're going to start looking at the world differently. And, you know, it's actually really awesome when you start looking at the world as like everything can be art, because it really changes your perspective on everything. It really, you get this like artist's eye, and it can be really, really fun. So, crazy lady collages and all kinds of stuff. I like this one with the cool alchemy. I think this came from a beer box. It's a cool situation there. Lots of cool ephemera and stuff like that. And I used some paint pens, and this looks like holds a ½ pound beans. I don't know what that was. Probably some kind of weird container I bought. So that was really fun. Yay! Okay, I just have a few more for you, and then we're gonna move on to some different tools and stuff that you guys might want to think about. The last couple, these guys are just more traditional journals that you can buy, or you might even have one. I don't know if you're like me, I like to buy the beautiful fancy like Barnes & Noble journals, like the beautiful leather ones, and like never use them, right? I just like, it's so beautiful, I couldn't possibly use it and sully it with my art. Well, if you have one of those, maybe now's the time to use it, because you're worth it. You're worth it. Use that beautiful journal. So these are just, you know, pre-made. This is a Moleskine journal. These are like super popular for art journaling. If you've ever done art journaling before, you've probably used one of these guys. They've got a really nice thick paper that's really, it stands up really well to paint and pen work. They're kind of a mixed media, thicker sort of cardstock journals, so those are really nice. I like the Moleskines, and they come in all different colors. Like this is a black one, but I think you can get them in like red and blue, and you just want to look for one that is, you just want to look for the one that has like the little bit of the thicker paper. I have to look up to see what series that is. If you really want to know, let me know, but just not the lined ones. So that's the Moleskine, and they're really nice. They're really awesome. I just have things falling out all over the place. All right, back in you go. So pre-made. This one I think has like handmade paper. Has kind of like a linen, a little bit more fabric-y paper. These guys are definitely going to be more absorbent. Think like paper towels. So if you're going to do a lot of watercolor on these, we'll definitely need a little bit of priming work beforehand. Oh my god, you have the brown one? That's funny. You know, I think I probably bought this at Barnes & Noble. I just loved it. It had this pretty braided string on it, and it's a nice size, so I would take it with me when I was traveling. Like I said, I always have a journal in my purse, and like a small set of art materials, because you never know when you're like going to be stuck somewhere, like just traveling in the car or something. I just have a few minutes to art journal, and even like if it's a few minutes, it adds up. It really does. And at the end of the year, you usually have a really interesting book. And then sometimes I'll pull it from my bag or my purse, and I'll add some more backgrounds, you know, something really simple that when I'm traveling, then I can go and write on top of it. And if you just squeeze in minutes here and there, eventually you'll have a really profound, beautiful journal. God, I haven't looked at some of these in so long. It's wild. It's kind of fun to go through them with you guys. Looking for another good one. A lot of them are just like primed pages ready to go. This is just a gessoed page. And see, I've got the Whole Foods, some Whole Foods tape. Kind of interesting. Oh no, not all of them are full at all. No, yeah. Well, I'm glad that makes you feel better. No, this guy's got lots of room left. Yep, not all are full, not all are complete, not all are beautiful at all. You know, like I'm sort of cherry picking her a little bit for you and showing you the more interesting ones. But please hear me when I say not all of my art is glorious and beautiful. Like it's just how it is. Even if you've been practicing for a long time, you still have stuff that's just like, or incomplete, you know? So, needs a little bit more love. All right, the last journal I want to show you guys, and I feel like I've been talking forever now about journals, but I just really wanted to give you guys a huge breadth of ideas. If you are machine inclined, if you're a sewer, this is a really, really cool idea. So, and even if you're not, because you know, I'm not really a sewer and I made it, so, but this guy is fabric covers. And I like literally just went a little crazy with my machine and did all kinds of like zigzags and stuff. The covers themselves, this cover that is made out of, let's see, there's a piece of paper inside. I think that's what it is. So let me see if I can show you the whole cover. So it's like this shape, you know, you don't have to have this flap, but I liked the flap. So you've got this shape, and there's a piece of like probably watercolor paper inside. And so I sandwiched that watercolor paper with a muslin, which is just a plain kind of cheapo muslin on the side, and some interesting tapestry stuff on the top. So I just like laid out the paper, laid some different scraps of stuff on top of it, and just stitched it on, like crazy stitched it. Like I didn't know what I was doing. Just, I went all around the edge, you know, to make sure that there weren't any pieces falling out, and then I just like literally crazy stitched it. Like a mad woman tried to break her sewing machine. But it turned out really cool. And, excuse me, let me grab a little sip. On the inside, these are paper, and these are just random scraps, random bits and bobs of paper. And again, I did that one stitch situation in the center where I just, there's a hole here and a hole here, and I tied it in the center. But before I did that, I actually stitched some pages together. So like I made one sheet that was complete, and some of them were like little pieces stitched with other little pieces, and I just made a pile literally of stitched paper. So I made a pile of stitched paper, and then I did the simple little stitch in the center through the whole journal, and that's how I made this guy. So that's, you know, definitely like a little bit more labor intensive, but if you really like working with fabric and you have an extra needle, I would say, for your machine, because you might go through a couple needles, even you might break a few. That's a really fun journal to make. I bought my sewing machine just for stitching through paper and stuff, so I'm good. Like if you looked at my machine, you would see paint all over it, and like maybe a professional sewer would be appalled. But it's just a student machine, you know, and so I like to play around with it a lot. This is so cute. Look at that. And it says wish on the little end. You hit the tie there. Aw, Jackie. Aw, thank you so much. I'm really happy to share them with you guys. And honestly, this is like a selection. I have so many more. And maybe as we go, I'll like, you know, grab a couple more and show some more stuff, or like show you more of the prompts inside. Thank you, Nicole. Yeah, that's fun, isn't it? You know, and when you get going, like it becomes such a meditation. It really does. When you just start putting things together, and the key to this, I'm telling you, is really just intuitively going for it, realizing that it doesn't have to be perfect. No one's gonna judge you or give you a grade on these. It's just art for you. It's just art for you, and you know, it's okay however it is. It's beautiful however it is, and just give yourself a break. You know, like it's for the journey of it and the enjoyment of it, and not the product of it. You know, you can save that critic stuff for like your big canvas pieces, or your, you know, big masterpieces, but like this, your art journal is for you. It's for you. And I'm really excited to do this with you guys. Yeah. Yay! Wish. What a fun thing. What a fun one to end on, right? Alright. I literally have a giant pile of journals next to me. And a dirty desk. Okay. So, let's see. I think I have a water too. I'm getting a little froggy. Oh, Heather, I am not a sewer at all either. I really am not. Like, crazy stitch, like I literally just went in just crazy, like a woman trying to break her machine. I don't know what I'm doing. I really don't. Most of them are just a simple straight stitch too down the middle. And you know, if you're combining pieces, all you want to do is sort of decide on, you know, the size of your final sheet. And then if you have some sheets that are smaller, you know, you just stitch them on, and you can even like clip off other pieces that are big, or fold them over to make little flaps. Like it can get really fun. It can get really fun. Hi, Natalie. It's good to see you. I'm getting the sexy nighttime voice. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about are writing tools. This will be pretty brief, but I want you guys to kind of think about other supplies other than your journal, and what you might have around you to use. So writing tools can be anything. I really like a good colored pencil, just like a black, all mine are like stubby because I use them so much, but just like a black colored pencil, or a set of colored pencils if you have them. If you don't have anything like that, crayons can be awesome. In fact, crayons and watercolor are really fun to use together because crayons act as a resist when you put watercolor over them, and you can get some cool effects. So any kind of pencil, even just regular number 2 pencils, are awesome. I have some charcoal pencils, which are kind of beautiful to use. They do smear, which can be a fun thing to use. Any kind of pen, just regular pens work. It doesn't have to be fancy even. You know, if you have markers are really fun to use. So any kind of writing tool. Another thing I like to do as sort of a writing tool is I like to make my own charcoal. And so this is a piece of charcoal that just came from our fire pit. We've got like a little outdoor fire pit situation outside. And so this guy can be a writing tool, a little piece of charcoal. And this can be especially beautiful if you know, have a family gathering or a special time where you're out at the fire together as a family, and then you remove a piece of that charcoal to use in your art practice that sort of ties you to those beautiful feelings and those memories. And there's a lot of magic and a lot of beauty to doing that. So you can absolutely make your own charcoal. I even often will use my Palo Santo stick, especially when I'm doing these big live guys, for mark making. And you can experiment with different woods and things, and like what kind of charcoals you like. If you guys are familiar with like straight up art material type situations, let's see. I have a little bowl here that's my charcoal bowl. Just has some vine charcoal in it. It has some stick charcoal, that kind of stuff. You know, you don't have to have these fancy kind of art things, but if you have them, they're cool to kind of collect, and we'll do some journaling stuff with those. So charcoal, I just love charcoal. Charcoal is actually one of my very favorite mark making tools because it has a organic, how do I describe it? Sometimes I struggle with words because I'm such a feeling person. But it's almost like the charcoal is speaking to you, like, because it comes from fire. It has a real potent energy and almost a mystical, magical feeling. And so for me, it's actually a really important mark making tool in my practice. And again, like connecting things with, you know, that family fire you had together, and those feelings and intentions, and then bringing that into your work. Like, I love the layering of energies and stuff like that, and we'll talk more about that as we go on. Fire is very cleansing, and you know, charcoal is so healing and so good for moving stuff. Yeah. I mean, like, I still once in a while will do like a little activated charcoal in the bathtub sometimes. I regularly take salt baths because I really believe in the power of salt for clearing stuff. So like, if you guys are feeling overwhelmed, like, salt baths, that's a really important practice for me. But you can also add a little bit of charcoal to your bath. It makes a huge mess. You don't want to do it all the time, but it really does clear stuff, and it really grounds you. And you know, fire makes way for itself if you feel like you're blocked at all. Like, fire and charcoal can be really good allies. So, now we talked about writing tools. I want to talk a little bit about painting tools. Oh God, painting tools are really fun. I would challenge you guys to really push yourselves as we go through this process. And if you are familiar with art journaling, or if you're an artist, or you've made a lot of art before, I'm going to suggest like really pushing yourself to go outside your comfort zone a little bit, and maybe not using all your fancy art supplies, and really like thinking more organically, and asking more questions about, like, getting curious about what can I use as a mark making tool, as a painting tool. And again, like, I'm asking you to sort of look at your trash and your papers differently, as you just walk in the world or are in the world, like the things that you come in contact with, like, can they be a mark making tool? So some of the sort of odd, things, painting tools, some of the more odd things that I've used as, well, mark making or painting tools, have been feathers. Like, this is something that I use in my big paintings. Sometimes I'll grab a feather, and these leave. What I like really about feathers is, for me, they really symbolize duality and control, because if you cut off this end and use it like as a quill pen, like they traditionally used, you can have a lot of control over your mark making and your paint. But if you use this end, it gets a little chaotic, and like you can't really control where the paint's going with this end, which I kind of love, because it has its own path that it makes. So feathers are a really awesome paint tool. Of course, like regular paint brushes, you might want to have a couple of these. I use my fingers a lot. My fingers, my fingers are where it's at. You have a lot of power, a lot of energy, a lot of presence in your own personal fingertips and fingerprints. And I think that there's something very connective about putting your fingers in the paint. So I'm going to also encourage you to do that at some point. That, paintbrushes are awesome, and you can really get a lot of awesome effects with them, but you're also this far away from your art, when you're doing it, and you're not really like connecting fully. And so when your hands are in it, you're really like getting in there and putting yourself into it. Another favorite painting tool. Let me take another sip. Hi, Terry. Oh, you had a salt bath today? Yay. I'm going to have one when I'm done tonight. That sounds so good. I've been taking a lot more than usual. I need to order some more salt. Yeah, so if you guys are wondering, I just want to mention real quick, I like, you can do Epsom salt. I also like Himalayan salt, Dead Sea salt. So add half a cup of that or a cup of that to your bath, and it's really, really good. Plastic forks. Plastic fork may be one of my very favorite painting tools. You can buy fancy, and I even have some like fancy mark making artists little scrapers and things, but honestly, like, I think this is just as good. So if you have plastic forks, one of these would be really fun to put like in your art kit for painting. And then again, like you can get these little guys, like these little palette knives and stuff like that. But also like a business card works really awesome as a paint scraper. You might have seen people use like old room key cards or kind of credit cards or that kind of situation. They can make a really nice scraping tools when you want to move around paint, or if you want to prime a page, like you can very easily like move the paint across. So some kind of card is also a really nice little tool to have. Excuse me. I also have like sticks and other weird random things that are just kind of fun for organic painting. All right, I want to talk briefly about sticky stuff. That's a serious art term. Oh, wait a minute, real quick. Another painting tool I just saw I have here on my table. This is an Easter egg, half of an Easter egg. And these actually make really cool circles when you're journaling. So think also like different shapes, and cookie cutters also make really interesting repetitive shapes. Caps, like different paint caps and things like that you can use for art journaling. Really, really fun. All right, now sticky stuff. And I'm gonna do like a little meme for you guys or something that has like the categories like journal, writing tools, painting tools, sticky stuff, ephemera, so you guys can remember what all I'm talking about, because I am covering a lot of stuff tonight. So I'll give you like a little like cliff note thing on my page too. Oh yeah, geese and chicken feathers would be amazing. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I mean, you could even make like smudge wands, you know, like gathering several feathers together and doing some really cool mark making painting with those. I remember I went to the Ren Fair one year and I saw a woman who was making these really refined feather paintbrushes in like an oldie-timey way, you know, for the Ren Fair. And they were gorgeous, and she was doing watercolor with them. And I just sat and watched her for like a half hour. They were so beautiful. I bet if you Googled like how to make feather paintbrushes, you would even find stuff online like that. Because, you know, back in those days, people used what they had, and the spirit and the essence of, you know, the birds. And, you know, for me, I'm really into the magical sides of things too, and connecting to that while you're working, you know. Imagine if you were working with like air medicine and you were using a beautiful feather paintbrush and you were thinking about, you know, creating something new or new breath or new beginnings in your life. Like how gorgeous that would be. So I was going to talk about sticky stuff. I have a couple options here, and again, use what you got. So more like a straight up artist sticky stuff would be like a golden, this is a soft gel gloss. I also like a matte medium, is really nice. And if you're an art person, you probably know what this is, but if you're not, I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of like a opaque white paste, and really what it is it's acrylic paint without color. So, and this is a gloss. You can either get a gloss or a matte. It's really just a personal preference. I actually tend to like matte better when I'm working in journaling because it doesn't seem to stick as much. Like if you paint gloss on 2 pages and then you put them together, it's going to tend to like stick together. So if you are going to get some of this, I would probably get the matte soft gloss or soft gel matte or matte medium. And you know, Golden isn't the only person that sells it. I actually kind of prefer Liquitex, to be honest, but I'm all out of Liquitex, so just showing you guys. So some kind of gel medium. And this is soft. You could, you know, there's also heavy gels. Basically what they're talking about is the consistency of the gel. So soft is going to be really soft and easy to spread. A heavier gel is going to be harder to spread. So you're going to probably want like a soft gel or a medium gel. Also, there's like Mod Podge. This works too. This is just a matte Mod Podge. And you can get really cool Mod Podges now. Like Mod Podge has grown into a huge thing since the 70s or whenever it came out. Like they've got a glitter Mod Podge that I have used all of that's amazing. It's really cool. It's clear, but it has like glitter in it. And that's really beautiful. So this is matte. You can also get they also have glitter, and they have gloss, which, you know, I don't really recommend, but they've got all different kinds now. So the glitter Mod Podge is fun. You can also use a glue stick, just straight up glue stick, or Elmer's glue, like whatever you got. Again, it doesn't have to be like fancy pantsy. You don't have to order anything. Tape, any kind of tape, masking tape, duct tape, regular Scotch tape. So we can play with all different things. I am probably going to be most using, well, because I have it, I'm probably going to be most using this because it's matte. If I didn't, I'd probably be using this just because it's like simple, and you are going to want some kind of paintbrush to brush it on with. If you're going to use something like this, I recommend just a flat brush, and you're going to need a little jar of water because if it dries on the paintbrush, just like acrylic paint, it'll totally ruin your paintbrush. It'll kill it. So you'll want like a little thing of water and a paintbrush if you're going to use something like this. Otherwise, glue stick, tape, whatever you got, we're good. Sticky stuff. So ephemera, you guys may or may not have ever heard that word before. I know when I started journaling. Yeah, both. Yep. That's one of the reasons I really like it, is because you can get a lot of cool layered stuff with the matte mediums and this kind of stuff. But I don't want to say that you have to have it, you know, because I know that it's really hard for people to get out, and like, who wants to buy new stuff? And it's not a necessity to art journal. You don't need it. But if you have it, that's cool. You know, it's always fun to have stuff to play with. So when I started, I didn't know what the heck ephemera meant. I later found out ephemera, when you think about it, ephemera just means ephemeral, or doesn't last forever. So the perfect example of ephemeral art would be a sand castle. So you build a sand castle and then eventually the water comes and washes it away. That's ephemeral art. And when I talk about ephemera, what I'm talking about is like little bits of paper and little doohickey thingies that maybe you can use in your art journaling. So this is a big packet of ephemera. This comes from the packet that's available to my my patrons, and I wish I could give it to all you guys, but I just don't have enough. So ephemera can be kind of anything. I have like some pretty like scrapbooky type papers, or Japanese papers. You know, sheets from just some of the books and things that you might have. I have old playing cards. I have some German foil. I have some sheet music. I have some old postcards. These are really cool. Old postcards. These kind of make really neat flaps and stuff in journals. Some like wine labels. Some old magazines. I have an old comic book here. Oh, I love comic books. They're so fun. The paper is really cool. You made a snowman today, Sarah? Oh my gosh. I'm not going to tell Guardian that because he would be so jealous. He wants to see snow so bad he can't stand it. He is asking me all the time, like, when are we going to go see some snow? I want to see some snow. I want to build a snowman. That's cute. You gotta send me a video of you guys in the snow. Guardian would love that. So I have some really cool old maps here. Some interesting maps. Some old game pieces. Aw, baby's first one. Aw. This just came from an old game. I think we got some like game pieces at a yard sale. These actually make really cool ephemera if you have like some old patterns. This is really neat because when you glue these down, you can actually see through them. You see that? So these old patterns really make really cool ephemera and backgrounds in art journals. Hi, Colleen. It's so good to see you. We've got some old cigar labels. So just think about it. Ephemera, it can be all kinds of things. And like I showed you in my journals, I've got, you know, different cereal box pieces and all kinds of weird stuff. Magazines, any kind of papery goodness that you've got, interesting stuff. would work wonderful for ephemera. Let's see. Just trying to put this all back here. I love playing cards too. They work really nice for like little flaps and little doors, and usually people have like a deck of playing cards laying around. Alright, so ephemera. Oh, I love this hall cry. Oh my god, this is such a cute little catalog. Look at this. Look at her. She's so pretty. This is a fun one. I love the old ads in these guys too. Like, some of them are hilarious. Some of the old ads, like, they are really funny. It's hard to believe. Look at, there's an old Nestle. This is in French. I can't read it. There's an old Nestle ad. That's probably formula. Look at palm olive. So fun. So that's some really good ephemera. Look at Day at the Beach. Look what Mom's wearing at the beach. She's fully clothed. Going to the beach. That's so funny. Man, we've come a ways. Let's just say 1954. Oh my god, my mother was 2 years old. This was my grandmother's time. Wow. Fun stuff. You can, I mean, if you don't have like really cool ephemera and you want some more vintagey stuff, I would say like Etsy is a really good place to find that. There's a lot of people selling it. I find it also at like Friends of the Library book sales. Often they'll have like really awesome book sales with like old classic books for not very much from your local library. Hi, Debbie. Ah, she speaks the French. Preserve the beauty of youth, Susan. I love it. How fun is that? I know, the old art. Yeah. So ephemera and a couple other things real quick. Coming to a close of our night. God, I've had so much fun with you. Like, I don't know how long we've been here, but it feels like the time has been flying by. A couple other things I want to mention that you might want to bring to your art journaling party is wax paper. Wax paper or even parchment paper works between your pages as they dry, can prevent them from sticking together. So a lot of times that kind of goodness gets sticky. So wax paper in between your pages when you're working on them can be really important. So if you have that, which probably most people do, that would be an awesome thing to bring. And paper towels or some baby wipes, because we are gonna like paint with our hands and we're gonna get messy and all kinds of sticky. Let's see. Real quick, I just want to like talk about other like sort of weird things you might want to think about, because I like to go weird. I brought out a bowl, and it has coffee grounds in it. So I realize that, not everyone's going out, and I also, honestly, I just like to use stuff that I have, and I think that there's a real magic to that. So coffee grounds can actually work as a really interesting paint, and we're gonna start playing with that, and we're gonna do some really interesting background techniques. So if you have like a little bowl, you can put a little bit of coffee grounds in there, or just save your coffee grounds and just a little bit of water and just let it steep, let it make a really strong coffee. And that can be really fun for staining things in your journal. Some other things to think about are extracts. Like the vanilla actually makes a really beautiful stain in your journal, and you can even add a little bit of vanilla extract to your coffee mixture and then make your journal smell amazing. I've done a lot of like staining with different papers, and like paper bags react really well to like coffee and vanilla, and then your journal becomes a whole experience. It smells wonderful when you open it. And certain herbs too, like cinnamon and cloves, can be something you mix into your coffee grounds and when you're staining tags and things. It can be really fun. I also usually have a little salt with me. Salt. This can be really cool, sprinkled into your acrylic paint. It makes a really interesting shape when you, pattern, there you go, when you sprinkle salt over acrylic paints and you let it dry, or even over watercolors. You let it dry and it makes really interesting marks where the salt like pulls the paint into itself. They're almost like little stars. It's so cool. So we'll do some fun experiments with that. Again, like any kind of paint that you have is totally fine. Like again, I sort of prefer these cheapo paints because they have filler in them and they tend to be a little chalkier, and that prevents your journaling pages from sticking so much. But if you don't have them and you have something more like this, that works too. Or if you have leftover house paint or wall paint, that kind of stuff works. Whatever you got. One of my favorite things, if you're like super low budget and you're like, I'm painting on, paper bags, lady, I don't have money for paints. This is a really nice option. This is actually like $3. This is a Crayola Kids watercolor set. They sell them almost everywhere. You can even get them at the drugstore. They're like $3 or $3.50. And they're wonderful. I actually carry one of these with me every single day. And the colors are really bright and lovely, and you can do a heck of a lot with them for $3. So the Crayola Kids watercolor sets, awesome sauce. If you don't have any paint, you can't afford, a lot of paint. Like I said, also kitchen-y stuff. And this one might make you go, you're crazy, Sarah. You've totally lost me here. I have a little thing of dirt. So I know it's weird, but you can make like a dirt, like a little compost soup kind of, and also we can use some of that for staining our pages and doing some really interesting sort of like water media work with your pages. Like you can get leaves and things and wet them down and dry them on your pages and sprinkle coffee grounds and different things on them for really interesting, neat effects. You'd be surprised. So if all you got is dirt and paper bags, we can make a journal together. And I hope that tonight has inspired you and given you like so many ideas that you're gonna just not be able to sleep tonight. Now that's not what I want. I want you guys to sleep, but I want you to have wonderful, beautiful dreams, and thinking of all the possibilities for our art journaling together. So I will be back next Friday, same time, 9 o'clock, here in my main group, spreading some art journaling love with you. Yeah, thank you for the love, Nathan. And so please bring next Friday some kind of journal, some kind of art journal. Either one that you've made, or one that you've bought, or one that you found, or one that you've reclaimed, and some art stuff, whether that's, pencils or paint or, whatever you got. And I'm going to do like a little meme here so that you guys can see like journal, writing tools, paint tools, sticky stuff, ephemera, wax paper, paper towels. So you can kind of see a little short list of things to think about this next week. And yay, so many ideas. Oh, that was my intention. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. I had a really good time. And I can't wait to dive into this with you more and explore some things in our journals together and just have a lot of fun. And I hope ultimately that talking about all these things tonight really makes you think about the world that you live in a little differently, looking around at maybe everyday things that you wouldn't, not really think about, maybe chopsticks or whatever it is you're interacting with, and like, maybe I can make this, into an art tool or put this in my journal or, so thank you, and thank you for joining me, and please share this video and let your friends know that I'm doing this, and the more the merrier, And for my patrons, again, like I'm gonna do another art journaling video with them on April 4th, and I would love for you all to join us if you're interested in signing up to be my patron. I think the link's in the little description there too. I'd really appreciate it if you want to check that out. So I love you all. Have a beautiful night. I'll see you next Friday. Till then.